The battle for truth. When political courage meets resistance, the awakening of a voice on a cold January morning in 2025, the halls of the U.S. Capitol echoed with tense silence. The presidential inauguration had taken place just days before, and the political atmosphere was thick with expectations and fears. It was in this context that a bold figure emerged as one of the most outspoken voices of Democratic opposition. Representative Jasmine Crockett of Texas was not just another member of Congress among hundreds. Her path to that point had been marked by challenges most of her colleagues would never face. The daughter of working-class parents and a lawyer by training, she knew what it meant to fight for every opportunity in a system that often favored others. When CNN cameras turned to her on that historic afternoon, few expected the statement that would shift the tone of the national political debate. With the calm of someone who deeply understands the facts and the determination of one unafraid of the consequences, Crockett spoke words that cut through the air like a sharp blade. "We have a white supremacist sitting in the White House." The defining moment, her statement was not a product of impulse or calculated political strategy. It was the result of months spent observing controversial appointments, divisive policies, and rhetoric that, for many, dangerously echoed extremist ideologies of the past. Crockett had meticulously documented every questionable nomination, every problematic remark, every policy that seemed to favor certain groups at the expense of others. The breaking point came with the nomination of Darren Beattie to a strategic role at the State Department. Beattie, known for his comments that competent white men should be in charge, represented everything Crockett believed was wrong. With the new administration, his background included appearances at white nationalist conferences and statements demonizing diversity and inclusion efforts. When you see a consistent pattern of appointments that share a specific ideology, you can no longer pretend it's a coincidence, Crockett explained in a later interview. "My duty as an elected representative is to call these things by name, no matter how uncomfortable it makes some people feel." The strategy of truth, what set Crockett apart from many of her colleagues, was her direct, fact-based approach. She avoided hollow partisan rhetoric or baseless personal attacks. Every accusation came with data, every critique grounded in hard evidence. When she said that 80% of violent crimes in the U.S. were committed by white supremacists, she was citing FBI reports that many preferred to ignore. Her confrontations with Marjorie Taylor Greene during congressional hearings exemplified her method. While Greene relied on conspiracy theories and misinformation, Crockett presented verifiable facts, official documents, and expert analyses. It was a stark contrast between two completely different visions of how politics should work. "I didn't come to Congress to play politics," Crockett declared during one of the year's most tense hearings. "I came here to serve the American people and ensure that truth prevails over propaganda." The cost of courage. Crockett's decision to directly confront what she saw as institutionalized white supremacy did not come without consequences. She faced threats, fierce criticism from conservative media, and attempts to delegitimize her voice. But she also found that her courage inspired others. Democrats who had previously remained cautious began to find their own voices. Voters who felt hopeless about the country's direction saw in Crockett a representative unafraid to fight. Her appearances on national television drew millions of views, and her congressional statements went viral across social media. The Crockett phenomenon represented something bigger than a single politician. It was the awakening of an organized, articulate resistance based on facts and fueled by the moral urgency to protect American democracy. Reflections in Society. Crockett's declarations resonated especially with communities that had long felt invisible in the national political debate. Young activists, ethnic minorities, professional women, and military veterans identified with her direct language and refusal to accept the status quo. One particularly impactful example came when controversial deportations began affecting U.S. citizens. A military veteran was detained and questioned despite presenting valid documentation, with agents suggesting his ID might be fake. The case sparked national outrage and validated many of the concerns Crockett had raised about the direction of immigration policy. "When you elect a clown, you get a circus," a citizen remarked on social media, summing up the growing frustration. Across the country, it was precisely this kind of outcome that Crockett had foreseen and tried to warn against. Organizing the resistance as the months passed, Crockett's approach began to influence other Democrats in Congress, her methods confronting misinformation with facts, naming problematic behavior directly, and focusing on real-world consequences. Of policy became a model to follow. In national security hearings, she consistently exposed how conspiracy theories and foreign propaganda were being amplified by members of Congress. Her analysis of links between domestic misinformation and Russian narratives demonstrated a level of preparation and knowledge that even her harshest critics were forced to respect. "We can't fight external threats while ignoring internal ones," Crockett argued. When elected members spread the same lies as our international adversaries, they become part of the problem, a legacy in the making today. Months after her initial controversial statements, Jasmine Crockett has emerged as one of the most respected and feared voices in American politics. Her influence transcends traditional party lines, forcing even moderate Republicans to reconsider their positions on extremism and political accountability. Opinion polls show her interventions have significantly shifted public perceptions of the current administration. Her congressional hearing videos garner millions of views, and her ability to articulate complex arguments in accessible language has made her one of the most followed politicians on social media. More importantly, Crockett has shown that it's possible to resist political extremism without resorting to the same divisive rhetoric it uses. Her evidence-based approach and unwavering commitment to truth offer an alternative model for political engagement in an era of extreme polarization. An uncertain future, a concrete hope as challenges to American democracy continue to evolve. Figures like Jasmine Crockett prove that responsible resistance is still possible. Her journey from a Texas lawyer to one of the most powerful voices in Congress illustrates how individual courage can catalyze systemic change. Crockett's story is still being written, but her impact is already undeniable. She has redefined what it means to be an effective opposition leader, showing that a combination of meticulous preparation, moral courage, and clear communication can confront even the most entrenched political forces. If you want to follow in-depth analysis of the political developments shaping America's future, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update on the political battles defining our time. Your subscription helps us keep delivering quality content on the issues that really matter. Together, we can keep political discourse informed and responsible.